Hello and welcome back to the Authentic Creative, expanding our capacity to feel good. I am over the moon. I've got an incredible new friend here. Anita Kopacz is the author of the Simon Schuster fiction novels Shallow Waters and The Wind on Her Tongue. Charlemagne the God released these titles on his imprint Black Privilege Publishing. Anita is the former editor-in-chief of Heart and Soul magazine and managing editor of Beauty Sense magazine. She is an award-winning writer, a spiritual psychologist, and a certified Tantra coach with a passion to see people thrive. Anita also created the nonprofit Zero F's Given to raise awareness and help victimized and disenfranchised populations heal from sexual trauma, find their voice, and reclaim their power. She has helped thousands of victims through her work with Zero F's Given and being on the board for the Center for Safety and Change. Through leading retreats around the world with the Goddess Wisdom Council, working with private clients and storytelling, Anita fulfills her intention to awaken the divine simplicity, pleasured joy in her life and others. Oh my goodness. All I can say is you're incredible. I mean, I usually end the interviews by telling people how incredible they are, but I have to start by saying, what a gem in the world. And your heart of service is electric, and your mission is massive, and you're doing it with so much pleasure and joy and ease and fulfillment and thriving energy. Like, yes, please. Ah, more of you.
Yes, you're making me cry over here, tear up. I appreciate that. I appreciate your words and just feeling into I I, I imagine there's some mirroring energy here. Just the way like what I'm feeling from you, it feels like, oh, kind of sounds like you, huh?
Oh, well, thank you for that. I do love everything you're doing, and I was sharing with you that my mom is very much in alignment with her mission of anti-sex trafficking work that she has been doing, and it's very important to her. And I was saying that she'll be very proud of me for interviewing you. It's really an important mission. And
Yeah.
so maybe, well, you know what? I don't want to start there. I really want to start with what was your childhood like? Give me the first like nutshell of the first 18 years of your life, because where did you begin? The miracle that you are. How did it all begin?
Oh my gosh. To me, it was a dream. My childhood was a dream. And that's not to say that there was not
Wow.
any trauma. There was trauma that happened, but I'll start with just how much it was a dream. My parents are such amazing beings.
Hmm.
My mother is from St. Kitts. My dad is from Poland. They
Wait,
met
where is St. Kitts? Sorry
St.
for the.
Kitts is in the Caribbean.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, it's a small, tiny, tiny island south in the Caribbean.
Got it.
And they met in England.
Oh,
And
wow.
I was the first one born here in the United States. So
Okay.
they they decided to move to California. And at first, they were feeling like they didn't want to have kids because my mom is black, my dad is white, and they didn't know what the world was going to be like for mixed children,
What
right?
what year was that? Like,
So this would have been in the late 60s, early 70s.
okay.
So there was so much going on,
Yeah.
civil rights, all those things were happening in the US.
Yeah.
But it felt different for them in different parts of the world, right? So they'd lived in Poland, in
Oh,
England, but they ended up um, coming to Fresno, California.
of all places. Yeah. Nice. It's good
Exactly.
weather.
Good
Yeah.
weather, exactly. Great produce.
Yeah. Lots
Like
of
seriously,
oranges.
lots of
Yeah.
oranges, strawberries. It's amazing. in that way. But yes, they had a lot of children. I have five sisters with my mom and dad, and then I have two other sisters. So there's seven sisters all together.
Like the chakras.
Exact. Oh my gosh. We talked about that.
Are you the root? Because you're wearing
I
red?
so it's interesting because I would probably be the sacral.
Okay. Yeah, because
I
you do the
think.
tantra.
Yeah. I don't know. I want to put that together though, because I want to see
Okay.
between all the sisters who would be what chakra. But yes, there are seven sisters. And so we grew up in Fresno, California, actually on the outskirts in um like in the country on like just no neighbors. And
Wow.
so it was all imagination. Like we just played outside all day long.
Mm.
And so everything was about us creating things, having imagination. I know times are different, and a lot of us who are older back in the day, we weren't around parents the way kids are around parents now.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
We learned how to deal with miscommunications. We learned how to deal with emotions, right? With peers.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that was, a real jewel of just growing up. I'm all feral. I'm not just kidding. I wasn't feral, but you know,
Yeah, yeah. I
so
really one of my favorite things is seeing my kids play outside in the snow when it snows or playing on the beach on the ocean because a lot of the time, unfortunately, they're on their screens, except for in the summer when I force them to do nature camp. So, what a beautiful experience you had.
yeah, yeah. I'm very, very grateful for my childhood and just being out in the middle of nowhere, being with nature. And
Yeah.
yeah.
And so then college, did you go to college? What was that like?
Yes. So I went to UC Berkeley
Oh,
for my
yeah.
undergrad. I did civil engineering, which is
Okay.
interesting. And until my senior year, really, I just was like, I don't, well, this is funny. I was like, I don't want to be on a screen. I know, right? I don't want to be on a screen for the rest of my life. I didn't realize that's kind of just what life was going to turn into.
So civil engineering, that's so different from what you do. What was kind of the
Very different. So
angle on that for you?
for me, I was always like a math and science
Yeah.
person. And I loved bridges and how cities figure out, how do we handle the amount of people, and if the city grows, what do we do? I was like obsessed with that kind of stuff. And so that's what I thought I was going to want to do. And eventually I just realized I just fell in love with storytelling.
Mm.
And it happened my senior year. They were just my uh, advisors were like, if you don't take freshman English, you're not going to graduate. And I was scared of English. I'm severely dyslexic, which is like, why would I choose to be a writer and editor in chief? Who knows?
Wow.
I'm a glutton for punishment.
Yeah, but like some of the most incredible people are dyslexic. And that I think there's like a gift, right?
There's definitely some sort of gift, but it's like like
It's challenging.
challenging. Yeah. And so I was like, all right, let me just take it. And the teacher I had, it's so funny, I can't remember her name, but she was North African, um, Algeria, I believe. And she basically had me fall in love with literature and storytelling.
Bless.
And I was like, oh my gosh. And I was so scared of it before because of the dyslexia and
Mhm.
just feeling like, no, my home is in math and science. I understand that. There's an answer to everything, right? Like it was
Yeah. Logical,
very
rational. It all
logical.
makes sense. Yeah.
Exactly. And so once I did that, I was like, no, this is what I want to do. I want to be a storyteller. And I ended up doing my master's in spiritual psychology, which is where I met Cora at USM.
Cora Poage, who was on our panel yesterday.
Oh, she was?
Yes.
Oh, nice. I love that. So, yes, so that's where I met Cora, and I did my master's in spiritual psychology because I am also, which is interesting, it's not in my bio, but as a spiritual psychologist, the reason I decided to become one is because I'm an intuitive. I've been doing readings since I was a teenager.
Right,
And
right.
so what I was realizing was doing the readings, it kind of felt like I was a part of almost like a circus. Like people would come and like get the readings and then go out and nothing changes, and they come back and get another reading, but it's more like they're just like, how did you know that? Like that kind of
Mm,
energy. And I was like,
mm.
no, I don't really see the value in like what I'm doing if there's going to be no change.
Yeah.
And so that's why I decided to do psychology so that I can learn the tools that can,
Was that the school, the spiritual psychology school? Was that the one in Santa Monica? Yeah, I
yes,
know a lot of people that went to that.
yes, a lot of people have gone there.
Yeah,
Yeah, Yama
great.
Van Sant went there. She was one of the main reasons I went because I really look up to her writing and what she's done in this world. And I saw that she went to the University of Santa Monica, so I was like, oh, let me look into it. And so,
It's amazing. It sounds like an incredible experience for everyone that's gone. So, okay, I want to ask you, what is currently, let's come to present time, lighting you up or bringing you joy in your creative and spiritual life?
ooh, lighting me up and bringing me joy. I mean, my stories are this book just came out, so this is The Wind on Her Tongue, and this is the art copy, so this is not like the one I don't have like the hardcover with me, but
So, we'll put a link in the show notes so you guys can check it out.
yes. And so that's lighting me up because I'm on my book tour right now, so I'm getting to talk about it. It's a little different because I'm not getting to really talk about the story because the people haven't read it yet, and I'm dying to like dive in and talk about the story. Like, so I did do a book club last week. I went to like a local group of women read the book, so I went to the book club and we got to dive in and talk about it. So that was
Oh,
some yumminess, because of course I don't want to ruin the book for anyone.
so okay, so you could tell us though, like what the experience was of these women and what
Yeah.
they were feeling.
Yes, yes. So I mean, from what they said, they loved it.
Right. I'm sure
From
they
what they said,
did.
they loved it. And the books that I write are about the Orishas, which are, for lack of a better word, like the gods and goddesses of the Ifa people uh, in Nigeria, Yoruba. So they're Yoruba people, and the Ifa is their religion. And so I would say one of my main intentions with this is so that people know those gods and goddesses as well as they know the Greek ones, the Roman ones, right? Just getting it out so it's just everyone is like, oh yeah, I know who Yemaya is. I know who Oshun is, like just so it's a part of our
And
vocabulary.
it'll start to become people's kids' names and their dogs' names and just part of the
Exactly.
culture, yes.
Part of the culture. So that's one of the things that I wanted.
Okay, so can I just ask you though, what got you interested in that, in researching that and bringing that to light?
That's a great question because it was something that I can't really put into the words. It was like a calling, like I felt
Okay.
so attracted. And this happened, I was in college the first time I felt so called to the Ifa tradition. And One of my friends told me about Yemeya, who is the main character in Shallow Waters. She's a black mermaid, and she was said to watch over the enslaved Africans as they went over the Middle Passage. And I was like, what? There was a black mermaid looking over my ancestors, right? Like I was like, wait, what is this? And
Yeah.
so I like wanted to learn, and I felt so called to it. Well, an interesting thing, when Shallow Waters came out, African Ancestry got a hold of me, and they were like, "Do you want to see what your ancestry is?" I was like, "Yes," right? For
Mm.
so many African Americans and Africans within the diaspora, we don't necessarily know where our ancestors are from, right? Because we were brought
The
over
Is that
during
because the records aren't there?
That's because the records were like cut off. They didn't want any of the enslaved Africans
Hmm.
knowing where they came from, didn't want them studying their religion, didn't
So
want them
disempowering. Yeah.
speaking, yeah, their language exactly. They didn't want them connected to anything that gave them power. Exactly. It's disempowering them. And so I was like, oh my gosh, yes. So we did my ancestry, and I found out that I am Yoruba and Hausa, which are two tribes in Nigeria. So that's literally why
Yeah.
that I was called to it without even knowing,
Right.
right?
Yeah. It was just intrinsically in you to, yeah, you're
E-
called, it's like you're called to the ocean. You're the mermaid. Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it felt so it felt like home. Anytime
Mm.
I would learn more, I'm like, "Oh, this feels so good." And what's really interesting within the diaspora as well is that these stories are not only were not only not taught to us, they were told that they were demonic, right?
Okay.
To keep us away from learning about those stories.
Hmm.
And so it's been definitely a journey, because while like in the beginning it was like forced onto them, like to be like, no, this is demonic, you have to take on Christianity. And it's happened all around the world. I'm just now learning about what happened with St. Patrick, and in Ireland, where all the goddesses were demonized when St. Patrick came. And I'm
Okay.
like, what? I didn't
That's
know.
your next book.
Right? Exactly. I was like, what? And so I'm like, okay, it's, like this story has happened to so many people in different forms, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's the witch wound. And gosh, this work you're doing. I mean, you have such important work you're doing. It's on so because on so many levels. It's not only revealing the real stories, but it's also kind of the crumbling of the untruths and the control of women and
Hmm.
of our history. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. And speaking of that, the witch hunts in Europe were prolific. The amount of women that they killed there was way more than what happened in the US.
In
Um,
Salem. Yeah. Okay.
in Salem, yes.
Yeah.
In in Europe there were thousands,
Wow.
thousands. And so I know at this point, there, I think in is it Scotland, in one of the places there, they are starting to apologize for what happened,
Oh.
because it's they were these women were like midwives,
Yeah.
scientists, like powerful women.
Yeah.
And um they're just now beginning to say like, okay, maybe we should apologize for what happened.
Hmm.
And but yes, the witch wound absolutely it goes across all all people.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there's so much for us to talk about. So you're lit up by the stories, by these goddesses, by this rich history and these myths. And I mean, how much is myth and how much is nonfiction? Is that's the question, right?
That's the question,
I'm
right?
like, where is it? It's a blurry line.
It's a the books are historical fiction.
Okay.
So um what I did was I personified these goddesses and brought them into storylines that were, the first one was in like 1850s, the second one is in the 1870s. It's a trilogy, so there's a third one coming.
Exciting.
And that is going to take place like right in the beginning of the 1900s.
Okay.
And so there's a lot of historical figures in there, and historical figures that have been demonized in real life. So I was kind of giving them their flowers in a way. So like Marie Laveau, who was the famous voodoo queen of New Orleans, has been demonized in so many ways. But you know, when you go to New Orleans, the amount of love they have for her and the history they tell you is so different than what is in pop culture, when like looking at a TV show where she's drinking baby's blood to stay
Mm,
young, right? You know,
mm,
and it's like, did she
mm.
really do that? I don't
Yeah.
think so. And then you hear about the stories of people who knew her, and or accounts of people who knew her,
Hmm.
where she was such a healer,
Wow.
and she was helped. One of the things that she did was she helped men who were on death row. She would go visit them, speak with them, and there are also rumors that when they were about to be put to death, if they asked her, if they were like, you know, asked her for this favor, she would
Hmm.
poison their last meal so they wouldn't have to
Oh,
die in
she's a
public.
death doula.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And so there's so many amazing things that I learned about her by going to New Orleans, speaking to the people. I found there was one thing that seemed so like out of place, because she's a Black woman,
Hmm.
but she also owned slaves. And
Whoa.
I was like, this doesn't feel right. She was a part of the Underground Railroad, right? I was like, this, it's just not, it's not matching. Like,
Yeah.
what is this? I did so much research. I finally found someone's dissertation. I don't know if it was real or not, but when I read their dissertation, I was like, this is the truth. This feels right to me.
Yeah.
That she owned the enslaved Africans and gave them the basically she would buy them and then either give them the option to, you know, go on the Underground Railroad and leave,
Hmm.
or work for her
Hmm.
for money, right?
Yeah.
And so I was like, that makes more sense.
Hmm.
Because I was like, it's not making sense to me. If she's on the Underground
Right.
Railroad, why would she own slaves? But I don't know. I really don't know what the history is of that. But that
Yeah.
felt,
You love it. You are like brought alive by uncovering. You're like an archaeologist of this work, of these untold stories and truths that might not be true. It's really cool.
I love it. I'm a nerd. You could say it. I'm a nerd.
Yeah, a historical nerd in the best way.
Yeah.
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 But you're so multifaceted because you're also doing this sort of anti-sex trafficking work, right? Like what, tell us more about that.
Yeah. So there's so many different layers of it. I would say where I come in is more in the healing. So
Okay.
for mostly for women who have experienced any form of sexual violence, a lot of my work that I've done goes towards helping them heal. And when I was, I'm, I guess I am still on the board of the Center for Safety and Change, but I'm on leave, right? So
Okay.
I'm not an active board member right now.
Hmm.
But you know, one of our years, the youngest girl that was trafficked was seven years old.
Yeah, I
Here,
believe it. I believe
here.
it. And I'm sure there's younger. Yeah.
I'm
I mean,
sure there's
I know stories that
of
would
their mom.
break our hearts. Yeah.
Yeah,
Of the age doesn't matter,
no,
basically. Yeah.
no, it doesn't matter. But I was like, uh, it was it's so unbelievable. Like a lot of the things that happen are so unbelievable. But then when I walk into a room where there's all of these women who have gone through that, one would never know when you walk
Okay.
into the room. You
Okay.
would never know because they're just like women, just, like sitting there, waiting for a workshop or whatever it is, right?
Hmm.
And so, and obviously if you go deeper, yes, that's where you begin to see it, but it's people who are just walking in the street who we
Yep.
pass by all the time. It's the kids that are in, our family or, in our neighborhood.
It's so prevalent. It's really, I don't know the statistic, but it really is. I would imagine like one out of every five women, maybe something crazy.
As I think it's two out of every five have been sexually
Assault. Yeah.
molested,
Yeah.
assaulted in some
Hmm.
way.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and that's reported.
Okay. And then
Almost
all the
every
unreported. Yeah.
unreported, almost all the women I've worked with, not the ones within the center, but the ones that I've worked with privately, no one has reported. No one has
Because
said
the
that it happened.
shame and the feeling that, yeah. So I was listening to Glennon Doyle's book Untamed, and she was talking about how there'll be, groups of women that'll all testify against one man, and even in a group of, say, 20 women, they'll believe the man. Why? It's crazy.
Yeah. Because it does feel unbelievable, some of the things that they do. So it's like, what it's and I think I really don't know. I don't know why it happens. It's such intense to me feeling like sickness, right? Within
Mhm.
our society. I know that it's a huge moneymaker,
Yeah.
huge. Like like
Yeah.
a lot of money.
Is it like $1 billion industry?
It's crazy. It's like that. Like they're like a virgin could be $1 million for one night.
Wow.
It's it's and it's always changing, but it's a big industry in that way because there's so much they have to do to make sure nobody finds out, right? Like
Yeah.
there's so many layers that they have to go through. And but where I work with the women um who are on their healing journey from
Yeah.
it. And it's not necessarily just from trafficking, from any form. So if they were
Okay.
molested or if they were raped or like whatever form of sexual violence. Another thing that does happen a lot, gosh, we've kind of gone south in this.
Mm,
But one thing that has happened a lot are parents and step parents um, do a lot. So a lot of the molestation happens within.
incest. Yeah, and also it's interesting because um, women will block it out and not become aware of it sometimes ever, but maybe not until they finally feel safe with a partner later in life. And then they're like, why am I having these visions or nightmares or migraines or whatever's in their body that's screaming, actually, there's trauma here.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And for me, the reason I'm so passionate about it is because I was molested when I was 7,
Hmm.
and um, I wasn't able to even talk about it until I was probably in my 20s.
Hmm.
And I remember maybe when I was around 10, I was watching Oprah,
Oh,
and
yeah.
Oprah shared what happened to her. And I felt like I couldn't even breathe. Like I was so scared. I thought everyone would know.
Right.
But I had that moment where I was like, oh my gosh, if Oprah has experienced this and she could do all of this in life, this is not going to stop me,
Yeah.
right? It's not going to stop me. If anything, it's going to empower me. I
And
wasn't,
Maya Angelou, right? Like, She didn't
Exactly.
speak for years, and she became this incredible human. I mean, not that different from you in a lot of ways.
I'll take it.
You
I'll
know,
take.
writers,
Yeah,
humanitarians,
right.
working for the greater good of women, like
Mm,
amazing.
thank you. Yeah, so I think, it's that moment of um kind of almost putting the shame where it belongs, because when
Yes,
something like that happens, a lot
that's
of
right.
times the victims take on all of the shame.
That's exactly what I was thinking. That's really the movement, right? Is like, we don't need to hold this.
Not
We're
at all.
giving it back.
Giving it back.
Yeah.
That's right. We're giving it back. I love that.
Hmm. Yeah, well, okay. So,
Let's take a moment and
how
like shake it up. Let's
how has storytelling become a tool for healing and reclaiming power in your life and in the lives of others? I mean, we're already talking about this, but just in terms of uplifting the
Yes,
energy of the conversation.
exactly. So for me, these stories that I'm doing, the storytelling, I think I call them medicine stories, because I am writing about a time that was very intense in American history, so during slavery. And I wanted to create something where, um, because historically for me, if I've seen a movie about slavery or read a book about slavery, I'm so angry and like livid, right? Like
I
after I've
remember watching Roots in fifth
yes,
grade. We, for days, we would watch it. And it
same,
was like, what are we watching? Okay,
right?
but then you'll appreciate this. When I opened my Akashic Records, one of the first times, I saw a lifetime where I was part of that.
Oh,
And I
wow.
was like, okay.
That's why, right? And that's the thing, right? When we think of all of the different lifetimes we might have lived, who knows who we were in the
Yeah,
past, right?
yeah,
And so the healing, so what I did with this was I infused it with healing. So after people read it, it's not that same feeling, even though it was that same time, right? I'm bringing in these divine characters who are experiencing it, but experiencing it from this place of what is this? They're not embodied in the trauma in that way, because one is a mermaid, one is just like Storm from X-Men. That's Oya is my second one, who is Yemiya's daughter.
love
And
it.
Storm from X-Men was actually fashioned after Oya.
Oh,
Oh, yeah. So it's like very powerful warrior who can control the weather. And so when these fantastical figures are placed into these historical places, I feel like it kind of is almost like a spoonful of sugar to help the medicine go down.
right. Yeah, it brings empowerment and a perspective that you can actually look at it without just getting drowned in it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
So, what does it mean to you to expand your capacity? This is a total kind of pivot here, but we're talking about healing, and upliftment and empowerment to expand your capacity to feel good. What does it mean to you to expand your capacity to feel good, especially when working with trauma or deep transformation?
Yeah. I think it's hilarious. You're such an intuitive. I mean, I think you know that already, but I'm just like, really, this question. So my theme for this year is joyful expansion.
Well, see, this is why we're here together. Yeah,
And so um I think to expand our capacity is really us being able to receive the things that are already within our world, right?
yeah,
Like here already.
yeah.
And it's okay, so now let me expand my capacity in order to receive these gifts.
Yeah.
and joy, celebration, especially right now in a time when there are so many things happening, right, in the world. It's like that is almost a form of revolution.
Yes.
And
Yes, that's exactly what Tanji said yesterday, literally. And I put it at the very front of the panel. She was like, "We are joy warriors because that is the revolution."
yes, exactly. Right. And coming back into just kind of how we grew up into that type of community where it's like, can we come together? Because when we come together in community with I would say the intention to rise,
Yeah.
woo, what we get, like we are each other's medicine.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
My
And
social
those goddess
media is
circles
not
that
my medicine.
uh, can you tell my mom that? Oh my God. And me that. Tell me that. I need the
Right? And
reminder. Yeah,
me.
get off my freaking phone. The circles that you do, I feel like that's where we're at. Can you talk to me about the circle, the goddess circle? Because I started doing retreats called the Goddess of Light retreats.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So
So
I
yeah,
just want to hear about your, because you've been doing this for a
absolutely.
while.
Yes, I've been doing this for a long time as far as circling people up. Oh, I do try to say people, and sometimes we'll get one or two men, but
Okay.
mostly it's been women. And um right now we are actually getting ready to do our Costa Rica retreat, and there's 2 spots left.
You guys get in touch if you want to go to Costa Rica. Costa Rica's big on my radar right now. This is the first women's retreat I ever went to was in Costa Rica. And then I went again, and then I've been manifesting that I'm going to be doing a retreats in Costa Rica again. Okay, so you're doing this retreat in Costa Rica. When is it?
It's April 8th through the 13th of 2025. So if you're hearing this before then,
I'm going to put this out very soon.
okay, perfect. And so that's with the Goddess Wisdom Council. So that's me, Cora, who you know, so Cora Poj, um, Yadi Albaran, and then my sister, Ivana Kopacz. And the four of us have been doing retreats for about 7 years now. And we also have a monthly call called Becoming, where so
I love
you
it.
not only create like this, like spiritual family on the retreats, you're able to connect with them monthly. And most of them have become like besties. So they're connecting anyway. But it's not like this just one off where you're like
Mhm.
flying and then it's like, oh my gosh, where do I land? Right? Like,
Yeah, it
what?
can be bumpy, the integration back in. So you're
Yeah.
saying there's like this sisterhood support network. So I'm just curious, what do you guys do on the retreat? What do you get up to?
So many amazing things. I mean, for me, what I've done in the past has been mostly tantra, healing of sexual traumas and things like that. This time I feel very called to do more ancestral work and storytelling. So I'm going to do
Mm-hmm.
a little bit more of that. Of course, I'll
Mm-hmm.
still bring in some of the juiciness, but
Mm-hmm.
Yadi, another one of the women, is going to do most of the tantra stuff this time. So
Okay.
she was excited to take that over. She's like, I'll do it. I was like, okay, that sounds awesome. And then Ivana, my sister, she teaches us yoga every morning. She does a lot of embodiment.
Love it.
And Cora is really teaching people how to move from their head into their heart.
Yeah.
And as you know, just being in Costa Rica, being in the jungle is its own medicine.
Yes.
So
Yes.
to me, once people show up,
That's it.
it's already done, right?
Yeah,
Like,
it's already done. You're there. That's it. Just be
you're
there
there.
in Costa Rica with these women, with the Pura Vida life. It's all done. Yeah.
It's done.
Yeah.
It's done. And so yeah, so I would say like the workshops and things like that are like icing on the cake. I mean, it's amazing, but like just Costa Rica in itself, the magic of the land and of the people. is just so powerfully healing. And
You're the fourth person on this podcast that's into like three of them are living in Costa Rica right now. Of just various women that I've interviewed recently, and then you're doing these retreats there. It's like because it's such a magnet, like what you're saying, for healing work, for
it,
embodiment work. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, amazing. So, how do you stay connected, Anita, to your own creativity, sensuality, and joy while supporting others through such powerful and valuable work? What are some things that you do?
Boundaries are so important.
Oh, I wasn't expecting that one.
So important as far as because knowing when am I in the place to give, right? Because I do need to give from my overflow.
Yeah,
Once I really feel myself giving from and feeling exhausted, I have to stop. Just
yeah.
because there's so much. Like, not only are we doing all this, we're mothers, right? Like, I have 3 children. So
Oh, how old are your children?
so my children, what my oldest is 20. Um, they're like, I guess my 2 oldest now are adult children. So my oldest is 20, my second oldest just turned 18, and then my youngest is 16.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
Yeah. So
Okay.
I mean, I'm in a place right now that feels wonderful. Like, I feel like we're in a good place because when they were little, I'm like, I have 3 kids under 4. You know what I mean? Like, it
You
was
got through, you made it through the wilderness.
I
Okay.
made it through the wilderness, and that was intense. If there's any mothers out there who are going through that time right now, I'm sending you so much love. There's so you'll get through it in so many ways. I think one of the things I remember was I felt like I forgot who I was.
Right.
And I was like, because all I was doing was like changing diapers and breastfeeding, and it was just
Yeah. Yeah.
so in it.
Yeah.
And I guess it's just realizing and knowing that it's all a part of this beautiful process.
And
And
then one day you'll be like, oh, I miss it. I miss
exactly,
my babies.
exactly. That was my favorite. Breastfeeding was my favorite part of parenthood. I
Wow.
love breastfeeding. I just
Wow.
loved connecting to my babies in that way, and like just how automatically our bodies go into like this, like, you have to relax, right? It's like,
Mm.
and
Yeah, it's amazing how the autoimmune system works in our body to then mirror what they need exactly their medicine in their body. It's crazy. It's
it's
crazy. Our bodies are insane.
um, amazing. I love it. We're miracles walking.
Yeah.
We're
And
walking.
we're the portals. We're the
And we're the
portals to
portal.
everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a wonder how we even question that ever.
I
Right?
think it's probably because of the misaligned stories that we've been fed and that we're telling ourselves. And all of a sudden we like hate ourselves. And like, why do women hate ourselves? Like, what's going on? Men too. Men don't like themselves either.
Yeah. 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 It's all, I mean, I want to say it's all by design, but it's like, yeah, it's true.
Mm.
And so coming back into that love, right? I feel like that's a part of our mission.
It
And
is like the self-compassion, the self-love, the forgiveness, the grace.
mhm.
Okay, so if you could whisper one message to every survivor or soul seeking healing, what would it be?
You are already whole.
Yeah, yeah, that's a beautiful remembrance. You may be feeling broken, but you may be breaking open, but you are not broken, I like to say.
That's
Uh, yeah, that's the lie is that we're not whole.
yeah.
And then in this season of your life, Anita, what does being an authentic creative, because this is the authentic creative, expanding our capacity to feel good, what does being an authentic creative mean to you?
Doing whatever the fuck I want to do. Yes,
I, okay, can we
yes,
do this?
yes,
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 yes, yes.
yes.
My husband this morning, I didn't sleep well and he was and I said, I've got this important interview this morning. And he goes, yes, 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 because he saw you on Drew Barrymore. I showed him the clip.
I love that. I love it. Ah, oh,
Where did this come from? The pulling, because I felt like when Jake and I, my husband's name is Jake, when we did that this morning, I was like, oh yeah, you feel that? Do you feel you're like literally pulling the energy in?
right? So I learned that from my tantra coach, Sam Isadora, who is now in the heavens. And she was such a powerful, powerful being. And she brought that in. It's a tantra form of breathing, but she brought in the yelling yes as you're doing it, right? And so and uh, and and so you can actually feel it as it's going into your system and your body. So it's like physically, yes, obviously we're feeling it because we're doing something physically, but I feel like you could feel it on all levels, spiritually, emotionally, all throughout the body. And I mean, it's like a pick me up. They say it releases the same like hormones that come when you have an orgasm.
Orgasm, yeah. Yeah. The serotonin and the dopamine, the receptors are all firing. I mean, it makes so much sense because that's what you say when you're having an orgasm. Yes. But
Yes,
also I did that when I was birthing my second son because I did two natural home water births, speaking of mermaids, and I was like, "Yes, body. Yes, yes to the baby. Yes." So I love
mm,
it. I love it. I love
that
it.
is beautiful. I love that. I love that. Okay, I feel like what I just got from that is like I'm gonna begin like yelling yes out when I'm doing hard things, right? Like
Right. Yeah.
begin to feel hard, like I need to sit and do my taxes. Yes,
Yes, yes, taxes,
yes.
yes, yes, taxes. Yes, I love you, taxes. Oh, taxes.
I'm going to seriously. I feel like as you were saying that, it just brought that in, like, yeah, it's yes. It's gonna bring a whole different level to things.
That's great. I mean, that's a golden nugget of wisdom right there. That's an actionable tip right there for you guys
Right
listening.
there. There we
Right
go.
there. We'll close on that beautiful high note. There's obviously chapters upon chapters of wisdom that you are bringing to the world. Thank you, Anita, for the work that you do, the stories that you uncover, the healing that you're bringing to yourself. First and foremost, you're your own first client, right? And then the healing that you're bringing to so many people on so many levels, and the joy that you're bringing,
Mm.
the liberation that you're bringing, and the healing through sisterhood that you're bringing. I mean, I can't really do justice to your work through my words. I'm only trying. But I'm imagining that your books are incredibly powerful. I mean, just even looking at the covers, I'm I'm wanting to dive in. So I'll have to start. Where should I start? Which one should I start with?
They're standalone, but this is the one that came out first if you want to
Shallow waters.
Shallow Waters. And then The Wind on Her Tongue is what just
The wind
came.
on her tongue looks really enticing.
Yes, yes.
I
So
mean, both, but
you could start with The Wind on Her Tongue, and then Shallow Waters would become like a backstory, but they're standalone, so you don't have to read one before the other.
okay, are these going to turn into movies? Because it
That
feels like
is
they are.
it's we're in the process, and so let's send lots of yummy energy towards that. But yes, there is a process happening.
Okay. And you probably know some cool people that could work with you on that. Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you, Anita. You're amazing. So if people want to not only read your book, so I'll put the links, where they want to reach out to you, they have questions, they want to come to Costa Rica, where do you want them to find you?
So I think on Instagram would be best. So that's at my name, Anita Kopacz, ANITA KOPACZ, and or goddesswisdomcouncil.com. There's a lot of information about what I offer there. And you can look up the Costa Rica retreat there on goddesswisdomcouncil.com.
Amazing. Thank you guys. Keep expanding your capacity to feel good, one breath at a time. Thank you for coming on this journey with us. What a wonderful journey. Thank you so much.
Thank you.